There's a bigger issue here. Just because a group of people belong to the Federation, it does not mean that they are saints. The trouble is Earth. On Earth, there is no poverty, no crime, no war. You look out the window of Starfleet headquarters and you see paradise. Well, it's easy to be a saint in paradise. Out there, all the problems haven't been solved yet. Out there are no saints, just people. Angry, scared, determined people who are going to do whatever it takes to survive.
What I want to know is, out of all the stories you told me, which ones were true and which ones weren't?
My dear doctor, they're all true.
Even the lies?
Especially the lies.
On behalf of the Bajoran government
And the Promenade Merchants Association,
I officially welcome you to Deep Space Nine.
Welcome back to Especially the Lies, what is allegedly a Deep Space Nine podcast, but these days we're not entirely certain. For those of you who are just joining us, we are a group of longtime Star Trek fans who have watched almost every episode of the franchise. We are especially fans of Deep Space Nine, and after we conned some of our friends into watching Babylon 5 for the first time, we convinced them to do it again with Star Trek Deep Space Nine. So we are also joined by a group of first-time viewers who have never seen this 30-year-old show, and we're subjecting them to it for the very first time. We typically start these off with some synopsises, some first impressions, have some discussion, and then those of us who have seen this throw all these newbies out and make fun of them and mock them relentlessly for their questions and predictions that they offer. Still say the day that Jessi goes back and listens to the Grey 17 Beyond the Rim, some of us are fucked.
Well, Scott's dead, so we're okay. At least he checked out before he had to listen to my fucking mouth.
I was about to say, yeah, one checked out before Jessi could do that. I am your host, Blake, and with me is
Emily,
Chris,
Jessi,
Mike,
and Christopher.
And God, dare I ask, Christopher, I'm told you have a synopsis.
I do.
I need to drink before this.
Synopsis. Let's get it.
Drink while while I'm saying it.
Okay.
I don't care. O'Brien, wanting to avoid a romantic trip with Keiko, goes so far as to have the Cardassians frame him, arrest him, and try him for weapons crimes.
Is that a question?
It was. I didn't know how to end it.
Are we playing Jeopardy now?
trafficking. Weapons trafficking.
Smuggling, trafficking.
Yeah, smuggling. There we go.
And let's be honest, as someone who has gone through great lengths to avoid family vacations, I get it. It's perfectly plausible.
Okay, but you weren't with a wife who looks like Keiko, so I mean, kind of.
Well, yeah, that wouldn't exactly be a thing, as we've done established in a whole other group chat. That, by the way, if you are part of our Patreon, you are going to love our next release of outtakes. As boy, do we have some insights to former castmates from Grey 17 who occasionally pop up on this show, particularly with our Star Trek Starfleet Academy show. And let me tell you, some things are going to make a lot more sense when you hear the outtakes. So check out our Patreon for those. Seriously.
Hide your
Let's
hard
go
drives,
ahead and
people.
jump into some first impressions. And Chris, let's start with you.
So it was a good episode. It was low-key infuriating. I've never been wrongfully imprisoned, but having been harassed on a number of occasions whilst doing not a damn thing by police, I was feeling for O'Brien. I was like, damn, so O'Brien's black in this episode. That's kind of crazy. But
True, it'd be funny.
initially, I was like, my man, like Keiko is trying to have you tear her box out the frame, and you over here looking at repair manuals. What is wrong with you? But yeah, I guess he, was wrapped up in work. But anyways, long story long, I liked it. I thought it was entertaining. I did think it could have went a little bit further if they were trying. I don't know if it was their intent to not to draw a parallel between wrongful imprisonment in real life and reflect that in the episode. I didn't like how they wrapped it up. I didn't feel like they had the breadcrumbs through the episode to make the ending land like it should have. I felt like they kind of Cisco just walked dude in. Oh shit, he's here. Wrap it up and then kind of do like a real quick explanation. whenever you're showing things or you're revealing, like you're doing your big reveal and you explain it through dialogue, as opposed to having it kind of play out in a scene with acting and action and all that. And I feel like that's not the best way to execute it, but overall, I thought it was good.
Jessi, your first impressions.
Well, if I never have to see O'Brien's nipples again, I will die a happy fucking life.
Oh, come on. You like those Irish titties.
Tune in to Beyond the Wormhole.
God damn it. Gah, I can't get him out of my brain. All I see is O'Brien's nipples. I actually really enjoyed this episode. It's really terrifying to see what we're heading towards in this country. So, like, at least I know what it's going to look like. The whole guilty until proven innocent. Oh, wait, it's actually already a thing. Nice to see. It was actually a really cool episode because I really liked the judge, magistrate, whatever she was. She was very good in this episode, and I enjoyed her shenanigans. I also enjoyed Odo a lot in this episode. He doesn't give a fuck, and I appreciate that in somebody. So it was a good episode, minus the nipples.
There's just been so much discussion of nipples and titties tonight, and again, check out our outtakes for more. Christopher, your first impressions.
So O'Brien really did not want to spend any time alone with Keiko. The last time I saw a guy avoid spending time with his wife so hard, the CEO did the same thing as Cisco and forced him to go on vacation with his wife. That's a true story. Boone seemed shady as hell from the beginning. So I was like, why does he not recognize O'Brien? If O'Brien is like, I know this guy from my former ship, and they went through some stuff together on that ship, like he wouldn't have forgotten who O'Brien was, and he wouldn't be surprised to see him. I liked seeing the Cardassian judicial system and how it's like just the inverse of ours, except for, as Chris kind of alluded to, is it really? Because sometimes I feel that was a more accurate portrayal of our system, especially if you aren't rich or you aren't white. Guilt is predetermined, but if it looks good on TV, hey, why not? So I enjoyed this episode.
Emily, how about your first impressions?
I like the episode. I think it's a good episode. I did make a comment to my husband when we were watching it. I was like, that man is going on vacation with Keiko and he's bringing manuals. Like, really, dude? The fuck?
You don't do that? Oh.
That just seemed kind of like, really, dude? You know your wife better than that. Come on. But it is interesting to get a better understanding of the Cardassian judicial system, and then you have Odo stepping in as like, no, back when I worked for Cardassians, I got approved, so now I can do this. And it is interesting to see Odo using that like knowledge and ability in probably a slightly different way than he did the first go around. So I mean, overall it's a pretty good episode.
And Mike, your first impressions.
Yeah, I think good but infuriating is a pretty accurate description of this episode. It definitely was entertaining. It was another one of those episodes that had enough content as it was that it packed the hour without an unnecessary play. And I still kind of wanted more. Like, I still sort of almost wish this had been like a two-parter where they could have stretched it out and done a little bit more service to the things Chris talked about to make the ending stick a little better, because I completely felt the same way. It was definitely like somebody looked at the clock and went, oh shit, cut it for time, we gotta go. And it's probably what really happened, if we're being honest. But I mean, otherwise, like, it came in, it had a point to make, get into the nuts and bolts bit. It was a pretty decent episode of like character stuff and world lore, and had a decent plot and everything. Like, I was entertained by it. So it was a good episode.
I agree. I like this episode. I think it's one of the stronger entries in season 2, especially the episodes with the Cardassians that build on the Cardassians. Especially, we got a little bit in The Next Generation with episodes like Chain of Command and The Wounded, and a few of those episodes of TNG that really introduced the Cardassians. But DS9 truly built the lore around the Cardassians, did the world building. And I really like these episodes that give us more of Cardassian society and give us these little insights, particularly looking at their justice system, if you could call it that, where they just basically put on these show trials with everything predetermined just so they can entertain the masses. And I also think it's worth noting, this was actually Avery Brooks's first episode that he directed in the series as well. So Avery Brooks did direct this one, commented that he really enjoyed directing it, butted heads with some of the behind the scenes staff. There's actually a bit of one of the assistant directors behind the scenes that was having issues with getting the shot set up. And basically, Avery Brooks pulled her aside and it's like, I need you to give me what I need. And her response was, well, it's kind of hard when we don't know what you need because anytime we ask, we kind of feel like we're bothering you. And he told her, it's like, well, you just don't understand my sense of humor. Apparently, he smiled, laughed, said, oh, what would you like to know? After she pointed out that he didn't have a sense of humor. So, but I think Avery Brooks did a great job with the directing, particularly with Cole Meany. I think he is, as I've said before, I think he is a fantastic actor. And when you give him these bits that just can be O'Brien centric, I really do think there's some great episodes.
And I agree. I thought that this was one of, like, O'Brien was such a strong point in this episode. And as I've said, I'm not a huge fan of his and I haven't been, but he was really good in this episode. And I appreciated that.
Yeah, I like that they kind of pulled on that thread again about O'Brien being kind of an atypical Starfleet officer, as we would know them from watching Next Generation and DS9 up until. You always kind of got the impression that Starfleet dudes were a little bit like clean cut, bureaucratic. They sit back on their spaceships, everything's tidy. But like O'Brien's the guy that's like, no, like I fought in a war. Like I am a veteran. I did things. I saw things. Like I am not that guy, leaning into not just that he's kind of the everyman character, but he's got some trauma and some stuff in his past. And so I really appreciated that, and I think he sells it really well. When he's talking to the camera from the standpoint of like a father, like when he was talking about kind of his mentality, his all I try to do is be somebody that my daughter looks up to. That kind of struck a chord with me. Like I definitely got hit in the feels by that. It was good. He was definitely a highlight.
Well, and then Odo's response to that he is still somebody that his daughter can look up to. Just because he's been arrested and being accused of a crime doesn't mean that he's done anything wrong. It doesn't mean that he has failed his daughter, that he's failed morally, that sometimes innocent people are arrested and they are found guilty, and that shouldn't change how his daughter looks at him.
Yeah, and Odo was another strong point in this for me because sometimes I feel like they don't quite know what they're doing with Odo at this point. And like, in this season alone, we've gotten a heavy dose of Odo coming off very much like I want to run a surveillance state. I want absolute law and order and control. And like, I mean, shit, they went to the Mirror universe where like the good guys were evil and Odo basically had the same job. So what does that tell you? And so I definitely I felt some relief in this episode, seeing him volunteer to go help his man out. I respected that he got in there and he was dead serious in asking O'Brien the hard question and then saying, like, he didn't come right out and say it, but he was like, I am here for you. I got you. I'm going to do what I can. And it definitely showed a different side of him when he opened up his perspective on those things. He's not just a cold-hearted law rule enforcer. Like it reminded us again, and we've seen it before, that he does have a strong moral compass somewhere in his goo body.
Well, and here's a question just kind of for our newbies on some of how they're thinking, because this episode establishes that Odo is an officer of the courts for the Cardassian Union. And he said he was made an officer so that he could testify when Gul Dukat was in charge of Terok Nor. Now, we've seen other episodes where the Bajorans are pretty adamant about people who collaborated with the Cardassians and what their opinions are of collaborators. So what are your thoughts on Odo's, just knowing how the Bajorans have reacted towards collaborators, but have Odo still as the chief of security?
I think they view it differently. I don't think they view it as him being a collaborator. One, knowing the history, if my memory serves me correct, he was constantly mistreated, borderline abused by the Cardassians, and he didn't enjoy his time working for the Cardassians, and he didn't like everything that they asked him to do or that they made him do. And then I think also knowing Odo and knowing that he pushed back as much as he could push back when he could push back, just kind of how he did in this episode against the Cardassian judge and being a habitual line stepper throughout the entire proceeding and refusing to follow protocol within the trial, if you could even call that a trial, really. I think they kind of, all those things put together, they kind of view it as, okay, you weren't a real collaborator, right? You were more kind of just surviving the situation you were put in, at least from my perspective.
Christopher, Jessi?
I think we saw in the first season how some of the Bajorans reacted to Odo still being on base after the Federation took over. There was definitely still some resentment there. They formed a mob around him and attacked him. And we've always known that he has a strong moral compass associated heavily on justice. I've quoted this before, but laws change depending on who's making them, but justice is justice. And we see that here, that he did not feel that justice was being served, and he did everything that he could to make sure that it was. So I think he has a complicated history, because I do think he's going to stand up for what it is that he believes to be moral, but he also is someone who you can't, can you really trust, because he was collaborating with the Cardassians. He was working for them, even if it was just in self-preservation.
I think I agree with Chris to an extent, or Christopher with it to an extent, because I think Odo is going to do what's right no matter what. Odo doesn't strike me as the type that, like, oh, we're friends, I'm going to let it slide. He's going to do what's fair and what's right, and not, like, yes, it's self-preservation, but I don't see Odo compromising his morals. I think that Odo would die for a cause. And if he didn't do what was right by the Cardassians at that time, I think that he wouldn't have done it. Like, if it was wrong, he's not going to do it. And that just strikes me as, he just strikes me as the type that's like, I'm going to find the truth. Because he went in there the first thing he said was, did you do this? And O'Brien's like, well, what are you here to just interrogate me? And he's like, I'm just trying to find the truth. Like, because if O'Brien had said, yep, I fucking did it, Odo would never have been in the position to counsel him, I don't think.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, like when you watch the episode and kind of seeing the Cardassian justice system at work, I'm not really sure that Odo's presence did a whole hell of a lot besides comfort O'Brien and Keiko. Like, I don't think he did a single thing that helped O'Brien in any way, shape, or form in terms of what the court was going to do to him. And I think he kind of knew that was going to be the case anyway.
Yeah, it was clear that the decision was made. He was going to be executed, and they didn't care. And they were just getting more pissed off at Odo, which, when you've lost, why not throw everything at the wall and see what sticks?
Yeah.
And so I admire him for doing that, even if it is just for the comfort of Keiko to say, look, we tried everything that we can. There was nothing else that we could do, but we weren't going to go down without a fight.
Yeah, I suppose he did stall a bit.
I think, and he said some things that, like, at least he tried, I guess. Like, he said what he wanted to, whether the judge was like, shut up or not. Like, he was doing it. He was going for it. And judge kept entertaining the shit. So he's going to continue to do it.
Chris?
I was going to say one thing, but I want to go back to what Mike had said about maybe he stalled a little bit. I think they kind of alluded to that with the judge getting mad, talking about this is already the longest trial in Cardassian history or whatever. So I guess maybe inadvertently they said that, or who knows, maybe they didn't even mean to address that, but they did. But to what Christopher was saying about Odo's presence and what he was doing in the trial, what I was thinking when I was watching it was not knowing which way it was going to go. I was pretty sure they weren't going to kill off O'Brien this soon, but still not knowing which way it would go. The thought occurred to me, like, they kept saying everybody in Cardassia is watching this trial, right? Like, it's being broadcast across Cardassia Prime. And I think maybe an important thing with what Odo was doing in that courtroom could have been to anybody, any Cardassian mind on Cardassia Prime that was watching the trial. Some of them could have been sparked to say, or to start thinking, maybe our judicial system isn't how it should be, isn't operating how it should be. Maybe Odo is right. He has evidence. He could have evidence that this man is innocent. They could make a case that could show that he shouldn't be killed, and that in turn could lead to them thinking, well, how many innocent people have been murdered? and been judged guilty unfairly or unjustly. And you get enough minds starting to question and starting to think like that, that could be planting a seed for revolution, or maybe spark the ember that grows into a fire that creates change. Like that could have been a wider result of what Odo was doing in the courtroom during the trial. And whether or not that comes up later on, or if that did indeed happen and they show it in later episodes, I don't know. But that was just something I was thinking when I was watching the episode.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, and they did kind of allude to the fact that there are quote unquote radicals. You know, we met some of them right when they passed through DS9 a few episodes ago, that there are people out there that disagree with what the government Cardassia does and how they operate. And I don't know if Odo's the kind of guy that would have maybe walked into that situation with it in his head that he was going to go try to start a rebellion, but we know that he is driven by a quest for justice at his core. And so very much like I completely get what you're saying about, like, he saw an opportunity to at least go speak his piece about something that was clearly wrong that he saw, you know, happening, and it could have definitely had that effect.
Jessi.
So you guys said it earlier, and I'm gonna just like reiterate the point. I wanted so much more from the guy that was the actual, like, the bad guy. I don't even remember what his name was.
Boone.
Boone. I wanted so much more because I still had zero idea what was happening when he walked into the courtroom, and all of a sudden the judge was like, JK, I'm going to be a nice person and I'm going to let this guy go. The smile on O'Brien's face was stupid as shit. Like, I just watched it and I was like, what the fuck are you smiling at, bro? They just almost executed you. Like, but I still had zero idea. I understand that they explained it, but it was just like almost like an afterthought. Like they were like, oh, and by the way, this guy was a Cardassian. Like I agree with Mike and I agree with Chris saying that, like, I would have liked to see two parts. It should have been like part one can end with them still trying to execute him, and then part two goes into the actual backstory to all of this stuff. I thought it was very hurried. It seemed very rushed. And I loved watching the trial part. Like that's my shit. Like, and if you ever want to see some crazy shit, go down to your local courthouse, go down to your local federal courthouse and just sit and watch the absolute fucking shenanigans that go on when somebody knows their client is guilty. Like, it is not about whether their client did it or not. It is about how they can get them the best deal. Like, preserving justice sometimes is just let me throw, who said it? Was it Christopher who said just throwing shit at the wall and watching what sticks? Like, I don't remember who said it, but that's exactly sometimes what it happened. And you can go sit in your local courtroom and just watch the fucking chaos ensue. Like, we have this happen in our justice system every single day. And so it's definitely interesting to see it on TV and be like, ooh, that's scary, until you know what actually happens in a courtroom. And then you're like, oh, no, that's pretty accurate. Like, sometimes that's exactly how it goes. So I wanted so much more. I would have loved to have seen 2 episodes of this, because if we can't bring back Rumpelstiltskin, let's get 2 episodes without O'Brien's nipples.
You know, I mean, and the elephant in the room, of course, is where things seem to be going in our country right now. This is maybe, a pretty extreme example, but it was still a little bit too real.
Yeah.
And somebody earlier made the comment that this was guilty until proven innocent, and I was going to jump in and be like, no, it's not. This wasn't even that. This was just,
guilty until
and this
guilty.
is to show everybody that you're guilty.
Is it really that extreme though? When you look at what ICE agents are doing, just randomly grabbing people and disappearing them at this point?
In some ways, it was probably better because these guys at least identified who the fuck they were.
And I mean, we don't have to think that this is something that couldn't happen here. We know it's happened here.
Yeah.
Guilt and innocence are predetermined by
how rich you are.
How rich you are, and sometimes the color of your skin, especially going back and looking throughout history. Just look at Emmett Till's case. It was clear that they should have been found guilty, right? Mm-hmm. But they weren't, and they were never going to be.
No.
And history is full of examples. American history is full of examples of white people getting off with crimes because of who they committed them against.
January 6th.
Yeah.
Law enforcement in general. Like, listen, I am a huge supporter of people who protect this country and do it the correct way and do it the way that it should be done. I am the first one to tell you that there are hundreds of thousands of men and women out there that do their job and do it right and do it with compassion and empathy, and they do it for the right reason. But the one or two or seven or however many in your department that are doing bad shit, I'm the type of person that says if you watch somebody do something wrong and you don't say something, you're just as wrong as that person. But we see episode after episode after episode of real life situations where the person gets off when they murder another human just because that human happened to be a drug addict, or that human like threw hot water at somebody and they get second degree murder. Like that to me, if you can't do the job correctly, go fucking do a different job. Welcome to my tit talk.
And it's worth pointing out because Scott used to bristle at this from the perspective of politicians too, right? I mean, we've all heard the line about every politician is a crooked bastard, and it's like that's blatantly not true.
Right.
There are so many people in the government who are good, honest, hardworking, very hardworking human beings out there trying to do the right thing. And it's a comparative small number of shitbags that ruin that perception. But one poison pill is all it takes to ruin perception, and it works
one rotten apple
all too well.
It'll rot the whole barrel, and it does every single day. And that's why I do what I do with 100% integrity and do not allow anybody else's poor decisions to bleed over into my area. If it's wrong, it's wrong. I call it wrong every single day. If you're doing something crazy, I'm stepping in and we're going to talk about it, because this is not, I work so hard to make a difference in this country, and not in this country, in my small teeny tiny little area, but I work so hard. And so, but one fucking rotten apple will make everybody look crazy, and I'm not trying to be lumped in to the people that are out here picking on people because they're brown or because they're poor or because they're a drug addict.
I think the scary part for me, I mean, you look historically, the SS was a paramilitary organization. It wasn't part of the official structure. And I think what you've got now is you've got groups like the Proud Boys and others that have more or less been handed these Amazon ice vests and handed a face mask and sent out to cosplay law enforcement with Christy Nome as Ice Barbie. And I get what you're saying about the profession, but at this point, I think we have to question, are we even dealing with legitimate professionals in a profession?
We're not.
Or cosplayers.
We had a Proud Boy running a federal agency for a very long time. And and that's the thing, is it's all jokes, all funny, haha, until this shit starts bleeding over into now they're hiring people, they're recruiting people, they're doing part-time fucking, like, they're doing fucking, what are they calling? Task force, right?
Mm-hmm.
These guys that you see out here as ICE agents, if they're wearing fucking tennis shoes, they're not a federal agent. That's part of a task force. Nobody in this fucking profession does anything in tennis shoes. The fuck are you doing? You know better. You're gonna get run over and then have to shoot somebody. That's fucking weird. Like, these guys are not professionals. These guys are coming from task force. They're not actually, like, they may be ICE agents, but I would bet my fucking money that they are a part of some kind of law enforcement task force that is not trained. These guys don't have any fucking, they may have training, but they have the wrong training. And they're being trained by people that don't have any fucking training.
And
it's like guys making fucking rules for people that don't do the job. It doesn't fucking work.
When you even look at their recruitment posters that they're
I was going to say, well, not just the recruitment posters, but we know that there are things like recruitment quotas and that these guys are trying to meet. They're literally pulling, just like they were supposed to go after the hardened criminals, but as soon as the quotas hit that they had to detain so many people in a week or a month or a year, then they just started grabbing ma and pa left and right. Didn't matter who they were picking up. And they're doing the same thing with the guys they're hiring.
Yes.
Anybody with a single digit IQ can go apply and get a job now.
Most federal agencies require you to go through a polygraph before you even get a job. And listen, polygraphs aren't fucking easy to pass. They're not. It's a little bit of anxiety can make you fail a poly. So you can't tell me that all of these guys have gone through the vetting that they're supposed to. You cannot convince me. It's
yeah. I will say, as we record this, the ICE has currently been in Minneapolis, St. Paul area, and they're discussing sending them to Philadelphia as we record this. And having been to Philadelphia, knowing some people from Philly, seeing how Philly reacts when things go that they like. Oh, have fun. Enjoy your trip to Philly.
Yeah, I wouldn't tussle with the sweetest old grandma in Philadelphia.
People in Philly, people in New York, they always talk about how people in New York are assholes. They hold not even a bare candle.
No, New York are assholes. Philly is fucking mean.
Yeah.
You walk around and like, why are you so fucking angry? I
Yeah.
don't even know why you're mad. I said good morning. Like, go fuck yourself. You will go fuck yourself too, sir. Like,
Built different.
So let's venture back to the episode and a little bit on the production design. So the courtroom scene was a redress of the holosuite, but Herman Zimmerman, who was the production designer, actually took inspiration from Orwell's 1984, where they talked about the as being Spartan, uncompromising, and merciless, which he felt what better describes Cardassia. So 1984 was an influence into Cardassia and the design of this episode, which I think makes a lot of sense, especially when you, again, think current events.
That's the thing is you guys keep talking about history, but we're watching it every single
Yeah.
day. And it's like, yes, we can start from the SS and you can talk about yesterday. And it's like it's almost if it wasn't so terrifying, it would be funny. Like I'm watching the episode and I'm like, wow, this is really extreme. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. It's not that extreme.
And I think that begs the question is we're having this discussion 30 years after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen the reactions to the newer Star Trek with people calling it woke, people calling it garbage. We mentioned this on our review of Starfleet Academy that it's currently getting review bombed by right-wingers for being too woke, too feminine. They're criticizing an overweight character. They're criticizing a character wearing glasses. They're criticizing a character in a wheelchair. And I think if you honestly picked this show up in its entirety, no changes, no casting, no writing, in its entirety, and plopped it down now as a new show, it would get the exact, having a black captain, you've had a character in a wheel, you've had all the story, but you would have the exact same allegations levied against this show now as what they're throwing against the newer series.
And then they talk shit about us because we are too woke. That's why when Christopher started talking, it's a joke to say, whoa, you're too woke. But like, what does woke mean to people? Like, we're just too compassionate. We're too like empathetic. I don't understand what they say when they say
It's
woke.
their newest insult of the day.
Snowflake, all of them.
And originally was snowflake. Then it went from snowflake to woke.
It's like sad. It's a sad situation to watch. Like I really enjoyed it because it's like the justice system is really my jam. Like that's my passion. That's exactly what I get excited about. But in watching it, I think before we even started recording, I lied because Blake hits record as soon as I log in.
Damn right I do, because you are an outtakes goldmine, my friend.
Me and Emily were like, I was like, oh, it's really funny to see where we're going. It's like, oh, are we going there or are we already there? Because this shit happens every single day to people. Every single fucking day. It doesn't matter. Like, that's why I hate the fucking death penalty because, they put innocent people to death. And I don't care if it's one out of every a million. It's too many.
There's a weird thing that was mentioned in this episode where I can't remember which character said it. I think it was, I forget all of the weird titles that the Cardassian officers had, but it was the guy that was assigned to O'Brien's case, his quote unquote lawyer, who was really just like, he reminded me of the dude that planned the Hunger Games to make it the most entertaining for the people to watch. Because that was really.
I'm just going to mention the character name, and this is from the show. I'm not inferring anything about anybody that any of us may know. Who
Three titties.
Character's name is Kovat.
No.
I'm not inferring anything. I'm not saying.
What's up, D? We miss you.
Yeah. The actor was Fritz Weaver, and he did a fantastic job at being a grandpa that I absolutely hated in this episode.
What was his lawyer title? What did they call him?
That's what I was trying to remember. Conservator.
Isn't that what they call him in like London or
solicitor?
Oh, okay. Because I was watching something the other day. I was like, what the fuck is that? Oh, it's a lawyer.
But O'Brien's face when he showed up and he asked him if he had ever won.
Right. I won't say what system we have, but 98% of one side wins and 2% of the other side doesn't win. That's exactly what it reminded me of.
I forgot the point where I was going with this.
You're going with a quote that the solicitor or the.
That's right. Thank you. Yes, and it had something to do with the fact that he even outwardly admitted when he was explaining to O'Brien, like, "Oh no, I'm not here to prove that you're innocent. I'm here to make sure that the people of Cardassia see that justice is served and that they feel great about us doing the right thing and throwing an evil prisoner, sentencing them to death or whatever. And then the telling part was when he said something to the effect of, and it makes their miserable lives just a little bit better. It's like, it's the admitting, it's the saying that quiet part out loud, which, by the way, I just recently learned that phrase supposedly originated on The Simpsons. Saying the quiet part out loud.
Part of the quote you're thinking of has, if it sounds immodest of me, I apologize, but the role of public conservator is key to the productive functioning of the courts. I'm here to help you concede the wisdom of the state. Because it's like, I'm not here to be your lawyer or prove you're innocent. I'm here to allow you to concede that we're right, you're wrong, goodbye.
Yes. Well, and it was the other part of that where he admitted that he's like basically saying, like, you know what? Most people on Cardassia are pretty miserable because they all secretly know that it's shit and they know they can't do anything about it. And we all know that they think it's shit, and that's just the way it is. That is where we are going right now.
Right. What was it? The greatest feat of the government was to prove that the poor are the problem, or whatever they say. Like,
yes,
it's to turn one against the other, because
that the single richest man in the universe, in the world, is the one convincing everybody that poor people are the
or immigrants, or whatever you want to put in there. Black people, brown people, white people, whatever you want to throw in there. I found it very interesting from the very beginning when the Cardassians beamed onto the ship. Is it beamed?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Look at me saying space words.
You got space words.
You should say zip zapped just to piss
when they
certain
zip
people off.
onto the ship. On the glebe glob, what did I call it? A boat? A ship? It's a ship. When they glib globbed onto the ship, you're all welcome.
I love it.
Blake is checked out at this point. So
I was actually pulling up a relevant quote to the conversation just before this, but please go ahead.
And they were like, first of all, you can talk, but it's going to show you're guilty. We don't have to tell you what you are charged with. Shut the fuck up and glib glob back to our fucking ship. Like, we're going to leave the wife here with some creepy looking fucking Cardassian dude. It was exactly the opposite of what our justice system is supposed to be. Like, you have the right to remain silent. You have the right to have a lawyer appointed. If you can't afford one, we'll give you one too. And anything that you say will be used against you. Like, and they're like, hey, by the way, if you just don't say anything, we know you're guilty. And it was just from that second that I was like, oop, this is exactly what it's not supposed to be.
I mean, that was kind of the brilliant part. It was like, it's not even that they did a 180 mirror thing, right? It's like they assigned him a lawyer. They told him to keep his trap shut, like all of the things, but it was bad in their case.
Like, you're guilty. It's fine. Selling fucking weapons to glib glob in his jeeps.
Wow. You got beaming, but a torpedo is just...
They torpedoed onto the ship. God, I can just remember Kevin yelling at me, don't call it a ship. It's a station. Okay. It's a boat.
Given what we've learned today, I really don't want to hear any more about what...
Triple titty.
Hold on, but at the same time, he's not wrong, because we have also done this long enough that we know the kind of comments end up inevitably getting in review or Facebook form.
Yeah. Don't worry, kids. I'll read them out loud. But you got to join our Patreon, because I'm not doing it for free.
Wow. Unless you're the person who wants to argue with us because you might have been told something by some random weirdo at a Star Trek convention in 1998, in which case I'm just going to block your ass.
Right. It's 2004.
But the quote is, you mentioned about the people in Cardassia and being miserable and the treatment, and it made me think of there's the quote that's often attributed to LBJ about, if you can convince the lowest white man he's better than the best of the best colored man, he won't notice you're picking his pocket. Hell, give him someone to look down on and he'll empty his pockets for you. That quote
it's what the rich have been doing from the beginning.
Yeah, hate is a powerful tool.
Mm.
I mean, we've seen that rhetoric all through. I mean, give people someone to look down on. They're not going to know, because we've seen how many of them that sit there and go, oh, well, I didn't vote for this. I voted because I thought I was going to save on my taxes as their neighbors are getting deported. Mm-hmm. It's like, no, you absolutely did.
Mm-hmm.
You were just too goddamn ignorant to see it.
Yeah. Blake, don't look over here. Look over here. Look over here. We don't want to see what's going on here.
I will look wherever I goddamn well please, Jessica.
Oh, you know what? Let's new rule, Michael and Blake.
Don't bring me into this.
Like, it's because you call me Jessica every now and then too.
And Mike.
Fucking hate that fucking name because it reminds me of my mother when she's mad at me. So piss off.
I'm gonna learn your middle name.
No, it's Nicole. It's
No.
fine. Just yell
Oh,
it
I
really
knew that
loud.
already. Damn it.
I'll curl into a ball and just cry. It's fine.
Ugh.
Anything else anyone wants to add about the episode itself or get us in more trouble with the online fandom?
We love you guys. Thank you for listening.
Most of you are great, but there's a few of you.
Do we want to talk about Keiko at all? Because, like, she's
No.
been through some shit, too.
Take it away, Emily. Talk about Keiko.
I don't know.
You brought her up.
Please defend that poor woman.
Okay. So she's on the little shuttle pod. She's supposed to be going on this nice vacation with her husband. He brings stupid manuals because the fuck knows why. He gets abducted, and then she has to fake like this whole Cardassian kangaroo court mock trial bullshit may not result in her husband's death. I mean, that just feels like a lot of bullshit for one woman.
Yeah. She did seem a little too, like, calm. And, like, let's be fair. She fucking married O'Brien. She knew who he was.
Oh,
She knew that he was going to bring manuals to the fucking vacation, or else she would have packed for him and said, fuck off. You're not bringing anything except this bag. Like, she knew who he is. I used to say it all the time.
Scott always said O'Brien must suffer, but he never mentioned which one. And I think it's Keiko. She's the one who suffers through all of this.
I think you have a point with that.
That's fair.
She's got rumpled foreskin coming in her fucking room. Trying to steal her daughter.
Acting like it's normal. There is a fucking mythical creature in your daughter's bedroom, and you're like, she's not Mama Bear.
I was going to say, like, she was we met Keiko on Star Trek The Next Generation, where she was flying around in a spaceship that looked like the fucking Warp Speed Hilton. She's a botanist, so she could get a job at some beautiful garden and some nice planet. Instead, she followed her husband like a loyal wife out to the end of the fucking shitty galaxy in a borderline war zone and surrounds herself with teaching other people's crops goblins all day.
She's had to figure out whether or not her husband had been replaced by...
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
She had to share an apartment with, like, a fake O'Brien. Come on, this poor woman.
Which I still think was an absolutely terrible...
She just keeps coming back, though. Battered women syndrome, woman syndrome is a thing, and Keiko might be being held hostage.
She likes it. Miles was not the only veteran. Keiko has survived her own sort of war.
What did we think about Julian's defense of O'Brien? I mean, he was rather adamantly animated. How dare you find evidence?
He was more passionate about making sure that Miles O'Brien was proven innocent than Keiko seemed to be.
Keiko was just hoping he died. Leave her alone.
Maybe Bashir wanted to see those Irish titties.
I don't know about the Keiko part of it, but I thought everybody else was fairly nonchalant when they were investigating O'Brien. And frankly, I kind of get it. Like, they all knew what his background was. Like we all got that one friend who, like, if the police showed up, they were like, hey, do you know if so-and-so did this? I'd be like,
she's on the podcast with us.
Who is she? Fucker. You just don't call Christopher a girl. That's rude.
What the hell? My voice is not that high.
Oh, okay. You did that to yourself. That's not even where we were going. You're the problem. That's where we were going. But you want to be a problem with a high voice. That's not my problem. That's a you thing.
Okay.
I'm just saying. Bashir loves Miles O'Brien. He was absolutely unquestionably like, no way, my homie did not do this.
And he knows
Cisco, on the other hand, was like, solid baby.
Find me proof that he didn't, because and that's another thing is they were talking about how O'Brien had to, like, the person who did this had to be a transporter expert. And unless you've seen TNG, you don't really know that he was the guy who ran the transporter.
They've referenced it a couple times, but yeah.
Right. I mean, in Emissary, they have the scene with him and Picard, and it's been referenced, but he's not there running the transporter on DS9. And so that was a little of, hey, you don't have to watch these other shows, but it helps.
Yeah. I was gonna say, if you haven't watched any TNG, like, I feel like 90% of O'Brien's role in that show was people walking through a room and going, "What up, O'Brien?" And then they beam out. They flip flop out to a different place. And that's basically it.
Another scene I liked this was when the Cardassians hailed the station to let them know that they had O'Brien. And Archon kind of makes that comment about Gul Dukat and Cisco living up to the reputation. And Cisco just looks at the screen and goes, "Yeah, I do." I did enjoy that. See, I think Avery Brooks is getting more comfortable in the role with Cisco. I think we're seeing him be more comfortable. I think we're seeing them write Cisco better. Actually, not that Cisco had a lot of lines, but what he is getting, I think they are writing Cisco better and allowing Avery Brooks to be a little bit more Avery Brooks and less the non-offensive commander they were going for.
I'm glad you brought that up because it reminded me of the other thing that was kind of good or kind of a nice, I don't know, nice. None of these adjectives make any sense for what I'm about to say, but I'll just say it. The scene when they quote O'Brien back to him, they're like, "Did you say these things? Is this how you feel?" And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, it is." But how I feel doesn't change that I don't act on those feelings. And I mean, that's like the most honest thing, right? Like,
Well, I think we have pretty much beat this one. So how about we grab some questions and predictions from our newbies, and then we can get rid of them and talk about all the things. So let's kick it off with Jessi, your questions and predictions.
Ready, Emily?
Yep.
Number 1, what is this TNG thing you keep talking about? Number 2, who is Picard? Number 3, why does Paramount make me watch the credits until after the director's name before they let me skip the intro? That's all.
That's valid. That's valid.
Alrighty, so nothing. Got it.
Did you think I was going to take that seriously? I never have any questions or anything. So
you will one day.
Someday.
You will. It shall happen.
Almost to season 3, guys. We're almost there. Look at Blake's
real.
face.
Yeah. Chris, please, something. Questions, predictions.
Why do we have to watch all the credits and wait for the director's name to pop up before we can skip the intro?
That's what I was saying.
I do. I think they made such a big point of the whole of Cardassia Prime is watching this trial, and they made such a thing of the trial has to go a certain way and it has to convey a certain message and has to be portrayed in a certain light in order to affect the minds and the perception of the people. I'm wondering if there's going to be some change in Cardassia Prime or the Cardassian people on Cardassia Prime after this. Fingers crossed, because Odo's my guy, so I'm just hoping he started a revolution on Cardassia Prime with his habitual line stepping in the trial. Is Keiko going to continue to be the dom in the relationship? Because was I the only person that saw her dip
the top
O'Brien in the chair when they were making out? She dipped him like she was the man and he was the woman, and was like sucking his face off. And I'm like, O'Brien, nut up, man. You gotta fight back, dog. You just get manhandled.
He's a power
He likes it that way.
Some people are into that.
It's like those videos where the girl picks her husband up and puts him on the counter, and he's like, "What the fuck? I'm a man."
Hey man, if he likes it, he likes it. I don't love it, but it's his thing. Okay, whatever.
We don't kink shame on this show.
No king shaming.
Unless you're talking about 3 titties and stepmoms, and then we're king shaming the fuck.
I don't know why, but when you talked about the picking them up and putting them on the counter, I just pictured The Rock and Kevin Hart. Just the first thing that popped in there.
Well, you know,
What
I'm
just
not
popped
mad.
in there, Ray?
Christopher, questions and
Oh,
predictions.
So, will we see more of the Cardassian plastic surgery getting spies?
God, I
That's the
hope
most
so.
inelegant way I could think of to say that. But we
Yeah.
get you.
It got the point across, didn't it?
It
Yeah.
did.
All right.
Moving on.
And when does Keiko leave Miles?
For Garrick.
Season 3. Oh no.
They should have did some Nicolas Cage, John Travolta face-off stuff.
Okay, Emily, you got all our questions and predictions?
Ooh, I have one more question. When do we get to meet Captain Kirk?
We don't.
Damn it. I've been waiting this whole time and I haven't seen him once. He was born in Riverside, Iowa. Did you know that?
Yeah, been there.
I'm impressed that you know that.
I lived there for
I'm
4
still
years.
impressed you know things.
I know lots of
Wow.
things, Clip Glob. Zoomy Zoom. God damn it. Can we go?
I'm trying. You keep bringing up Captain Kirk.
I wanted to know when we met him. Fuck, I keep hearing all these things about him. Anyway, moving on.
You just want to go back to the shirtless William Shatner from the 60s is what you want.
Oh, he was super hot, though. I was surprised how hot he was when he was younger. I've never seen him young.
So this has been our review of Tribunal. As we have talked through this episode, we've talked through things that aren't related to this episode. And if you do like the madness that is this show,
sorry,
we actually have this discussion going on Discord as well. You can join the conversation we have on Discord. Most of the hosts of the show have their own little chat room on Discord as part of our server. We've got conspiracy theories, we've got sports ball, we've got music, we've got food porn. Occasionally the streams get crossed and we end up talking sports porn. Anything is possible on our Discord and where the discussions go. To get access to that, down in the show notes is the link to our Patreon. Join at any level, and that gets you into the Discord where you can truly see how unhinged and absolutely batshit crazy we truly are. You can also follow us on all of our socials, and we would certainly appreciate it if you would consider giving us a review on your podcast app of choice. We prefer 5-star reviews. Hell, you don't have to like us. You can tell us we fucking suck, but please tell us we are 5 stars worthy of suck, and we will read your review here on the show. Jessi has promised she will read certain reviews on the show for us. So I don't have any new ones for you, though, Jessi. I know how much you've been looking forward to this. But if someone would leave us a review, Jessi will read it. She has promised to do that. Or you can request to have Angry Alvin read your review, because I'm sure some of these would sound great in the Angry Alvin voice.
20 years later, we're still picking on him.
What else are we going to do?
So I am Blake, and the group of deviants with me has been...
Emily.
Chris.
Jessi with 3 titties and a stepmom.
Regular Mike.
I so want a flag behind Jessi on one of these. It says AI 3 titty stepmom.
Thank you for listening to Especially the Lies, a Deep Space Nine podcast. You can find all the places to listen to and watch this podcast by searching for Especially the Lies on your podcast app or on YouTube. We want to hear from you, so join the conversation at Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Be sure to subscribe and leave a review where you are listening to or watching this podcast. Especially the Lies is not affiliated with, and the podcast has not been prepared, approved, or licensed by Paramount or any other owners of the Star Trek copyright. All clips included in this podcast are the intellectual property of the respective copyright holders. They are included here for purposes of review, and no infringement is intended.
Why have you brought me here? Show yourselves. What do you want?
The Cisco has returned to us.
He arrives with questions.
There are always questions.
Welcome back to Visiting with the Prophets. We are going to pick up our discussion here, and this is going to be a little different. So those who listened to last week's show are going to notice and probably realized we did not do a Visiting with the Prophets section. We had some issues with the recording last week. We weren't able to do that section of the show. So what we're going to do is actually go back, discuss last week's section of the show dealing with the collaborator, and then we will discuss the questions and predictions from this week's episode, Tribunal, and then we will get back to our normal Visiting with the Prophets on each of these. So I am Blake, and with me here is...
Emily.
And Mike.
So Emily, let's start with the collaborator. What do we have from them?
All right. So Chris asked, what's the impact of Wynn becoming Kai?
It's gonna get
fuckery
fun.
and shenanigans?
Yes. Yeah, pretty much. She's going to pretty much lead it all to ruin, which is, funny enough, going to tie into one of our predictions for the other show. So I'm just going to cross the streams here, Ghostbuster style, because they asked about, what was it? Christopher asked about the alterations right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to see that because Gul Dukat comes back as Angel Tanan, surgically altered to look like a Bajoran in season 7. Now, he will know this, and he's cheating, the little bastard, because I know for a fact he's fucking seen Voyager. He damn well knows about Seska from Voyager. So the little bastard's cheating when he brings up that question. But yes, so we're going to see how things go with Kai Wynn when she basically aligns herself with Gul Dukat and the Pa Wraiths in season 7, plus all the fuckery that happens between now and season 7.
Yeah. Nicole asked if Wynn will last as Kai, and yeah, a lot longer than she fucking should.
Yep, until she gets hurled off that cliff into the fire caves.
Yeah.
Not soon enough.
Sadly.
But again, Louise Fletcher, don't get us wrong. Louise Fletcher nailed the assignment.
Oh,
she did
absolutely.
her job phenomenally well.
A little too well, maybe, if that's possible. Nicole also asked if we ever get any clarifications on Brile's orb vision. I don't know. I thought they were fairly clear. She also wanted to know the implications of Wynn becoming Kai.
Fuckery.
Yeah. Jessi predicted Odo and Kira.
Yes.
Yeah, it's gonna be a wait on that one.
Was she joking or was it serious?
No, she was serious.
No, she was serious.
Oh, okay.
And yes, those two will end up hooking up. There will be goo and mist and.
Oh my god, I can't wait to hear her thoughts on the mist scene.
Yep.
It'll be spectacular. Let's see. She also doesn't want to see Brile again.
He'll be back.
I mean, I don't blame her. I don't like him either.
Well, because we'll have the episode where he comes back and he basically dies doing the negotiations, but then we'll get Mirror Universe Brile a couple times.
Yeah, not really a fan of either one, but it is what it is. Christopher, how does Wynn's election impact the Federation and Bajoran relationship? Well,
not as much, because what really tanks it, though, is because they're going to admit to the Federation it's Cisco as the emissary to the prophets after he has the vision that goes in and tells Bajor not to join. So I would say Wynn makes things more difficult, but it's Cisco as the emissary to the prophets that kind of stops everything.
Yeah. Does Kira ever figure out that Odo loves her?
Yes.
After, it being told directly to her face. She doesn't really
because
seem
there's
to
that
figure it
episode
out.
where the Defiant crashes and creates the alternate.
Yeah. And then what happens to, what was his name? Kubos?
Oh, Kubus just goes away and we never see him again.
Yeah. No one misses him. That's fine.
He was gone halfway through this episode.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about him. There wasn't much for the Tribunal episode, though.
Yeah, let's jump into what we haven't already addressed with Tribunal.
Yeah, well, Chris asked if there'll be a change in Cardassia Prime, and yes.
It will change, and then it will change again. It's basically going to be the France of Star Trek, because they're going to get the Dutapa Consul at the start of season 4, which is the civilian government, which will then get overthrown by Dukat, who aligns with the Dominion, and it gets worse than ever.
It'll be interesting to see what he thinks of all those changes. I feel like in the end, things hopefully work out for Cardassia and they get their ish together, but we'll see.
I noticed there's one thing. We haven't seen any Cardassian officers in Starfleet Academy yet.
Oh, boy. Well, but the President of Federation from Discovery was part Cardassian, part Bajoran.
See, I still haven't watched Discovery, so...
Must not have seen that, yeah.
I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I don't plan to watch Discovery, so... Whatever I need to know, feel free to spoil.
So I think that pretty much wraps us up, doesn't it?
Christopher did ask if we'll see more Cardassian spies with the alterations, and it's not necessarily a Cardassian spy, but they do alter Kira to try to convince her she's Cardassian. So,
well, I said there'll be Dukat as Angel, and I mentioned Seska.
More surgical alteration. They employed that trick in TNG, and they'll continue to do it here.
So that pretty much covers questions and predictions for the last two. I'm really excited for next week, so we finally get to the Jem'Hadar.
Yeah, it's gonna end on a nice big what the fuck was that?
Yes.
I hope it will get everybody jazzed a little bit for season. I know season 3 is still not really the best season. It doesn't really get going until 4, but
no, but I feel like the introduction of the Jem'Hadar creates maybe more of a focal point. So I'm hoping that they get a little more, and I don't know if invested is the word, but see more of the storyline come through.
Yeah, I think they'll start to see the more serialization coming with the fact that there's a big bad looming out there on the other side of the. We shall see, though. I was going to point out too, because I just kind of noticed it. As I typically do, I was some of our guest stars in this week's episode. They all have various acting credits. I'm not going to bother going through them all, but I was going to point out that Richard Poe played Gul Evek. I did not realize just how many episodes he had been in as Gol Evek. 3. This is his final appearance, I believe, in DS9. He was previously in, I want to say, oh shit, what was it? Well, it doesn't matter. He was in 3 other ones. I think they were all in season 2. And then he was also in a couple episodes of TNG season 7, including the second.
2 TNG, 3 DS9, and 1 episode of Voyager.
Okay, yeah. So, but yeah, part of the preemptive strike. The big
he was
one.
in both Journey's End and Preemptive Strike, playing God, Maquis Part 1, Tribunal from DS9, and then Voyager Caretaker.
I'm surprised none of the newbies picked up on the mention of the Maquis. They were both an important influence in the episode, but also not. That was obviously like the background motive for why O'Brien allegedly did what he did and everything, but they didn't really name the Maquis too many times in the episode. But I thought maybe one of the noobs would pick up on it and ask some questions about the return of that group again, but I guess not.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they're still not catching the serialization that's actually starting to pop in more.
Yeah, I've said that all along. They're missing the bits and pieces, but it's going to pick up and get a lot more blatant, especially in through the Jim Hadar and moving.
And we get to see Nog next week. I love Nog.
Yeah, I was
we
just
haven't
realizing
seen
that
him
too.
in a while.
We haven't seen Nog in a really long time. We've barely seen Jake this season either, it feels like.
Yeah, and we end the season with those two
On a school field trip.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think that kind of covers our Visiting with the Prophet section for our last 2 episodes. Again, we'll be back to normal next week with the Jim Hadar and back in our regular format. So again, make sure to like, follow, and subscribe. Give us a review on your podcast app of choice. And until next time, I am Blake, and with me has been
Emily
and Mike.